today. Woo! Thank you so much for being here. I'm glad it's sunny outside. I hope you guys are all doing okay after that storm. That was really, really, really scary, actually. We are going to continue our Summer at the Movies series today, and we are going to be taking a look at the lessons that we can learn from Murder Mystery, starring Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. So if you could do me a favor really quick, I can't see any of you. Michelle, I did see you, so I know you're here today. Could you do your best fake laugh for me on 3? Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. See, now, gotcha. Now I know when you're fake laughing at me when I'm up here. I'm kidding. Thank you so much again for being here. If this is your first time joining us, thank you, thank you, thank you. We would love to connect with you, and we have a gift for you out front, so please be sure to stop by our first-time guest tent. I'm so excited for today. I think we're going to learn a lot about what we can learn from humor and comedy in general. Comedy movies are my favorite category, so I'm just pumped to be up here today. So if you could sing along now, we're going to do Drops of Jupiter. Let's do it. Thanks for being here. Okay, so do we have any Adam Sandler fans in the house? Yay! Okay, can you tell me some of your favorite Adam Sandler movies? All the classics. Okay, so when I do what? Okay. When I Googled how many movies Adam Sandler was in, Google literally says at least 59. And I thought, okay, wow, 59 movies is a lot, but even Google can't tell me how many movies Adam Sandler is in. So if they lost count, then he's in a ton of movies. How many of you have seen Murder Mystery with Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston? Yeah, did you like it? Yeah, it was good. It was pretty good. So how many of you have heard of the phrase, laughter is the best medicine? Yeah? Okay. So if you've been here before when I'm here on stage, I say it every time. When I'm doing the studying and the research for these messages, I go down rabbit holes because I just find everything so interesting and entertaining. And so I wanted to look up where that phrase came from, and it's actually from a Bible verse. I was surprised to find that out. So Proverbs 17, verse 22 reads, "A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones." So the concept of laughter being the best medicine is coined from the first part of the verse as being merry, and it is associated with being happy and lots of laughter. So another rabbit hole that I ended up going down, and this one's really cool because we talk a lot here at West about therapy and meditation and a lot of forms of just trying to become a better human being overall. So there's actually a form of therapy called cinema therapy, and that's what the experts call it. It can be a powerful tool for healing and growth for anybody open to learning how movies affect us and watching certain films with conscious awareness. I cannot talk this morning. This therapy method allows us to use the effect of imagery, music, learning behaviors of characters, etc. in films on our psyche for insight, inspiration, emotional release or relief, and natural change. And although cinema therapy is a real thing that you can do with a professional therapist, it's something that we can also self-administer and do in the comfort of our own homes. And once we recognize that movies can change and or encourage the way that we think, act, feel, and ultimately deal with life's ups and downs, can be a great way to be able to manage or understand the things that we're going through in life. So there's a great website called medium.com if you like to read or if you're into reading blogs from different types of authors. Medium is this huge website that has probably over 100,000 different authors who write blogs on every single topic that you can think of. And someone wrote an article about movies, and this was a little excerpt from it. "The reason Netflix, books, and movies are so popular is very simple. People love stories. It's hardwired into our DNA, and time suspends when we get around a great story." Now, movies really are just stories, but as I was thinking about comedies in particular for today and the movie Murder Mystery, I really got to thinking that with comedies, the entire movie is not funny. And normally the actual plot line is not funny. So we're about to watch the trailer for Murder Mystery, but when you really look at it, the plot is this. Two people are going on a honeymoon 15 years late because one of the spouses is lying about what's happening at their job, and they're going on a trip late that was supposed to happen 15 years ago. They get mixed up with these famous rich celebrities who are on a yacht. A murder occurs. The couple is blamed for the murder because they're the only regular civilians on the yacht, and then they're trying to unravel and figure out who did the murdering. That's not very funny, is it? No, I don't think so. But the way that the comedy lays out and moments in the movie are really funny and can help us learn lessons through that way. So I thought, wow, that's interesting that comedies aren't necessarily funny just because, but their intentionality and the way that they use humor to help us understand what the plot is trying to tell us or what we're supposed to learn from the movie is the whole point of it being a comedy. So let's take a look at the trailer for Murder Mystery. It's pretty funny. That movie, I watched it when it first came out a couple years ago, and I was like uncontrollably laughing, and no one else in my family was. So that always made me feel good. That's a nice core memory now. But I do love this movie. A second one just came out. I haven't seen that one yet. Has anyone seen the second one? It's good? Okay. Well, then that's your homework. Go home and watch the second one. So that trailer does a fantastic job of showing us all the action-packed parts of the murder mystery, but what you can't tell from the trailer is this. This is what Mystery and Suspense magazine had to say about the lessons that we can learn from the film. Murder Mystery has a subtle yet profound message about relationships. The movie explores the dynamics of marriage and the importance of communication and trust. It shows how misunderstandings and secrets can create relationship rifts and how honesty and vulnerability can bridge those gaps. I thought that was really well written out, but then when I went to research what Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston thought of the movie, I came across a little interview of them during like the press tour of the movie, and they said, because they've been friends for a long time, they've done a couple movies together, they really wanted that exact paragraph to be portrayed in the movie. They said, we do a lot of comedies, and especially together. Adam Sandler pretty much only does comedies, except for what's the gym movie he did? Uncut Gems. Yeah, that would. Side note, that made me feel very strange trying to watch that movie because I kept expecting him to do something funny and he never did, and I was kind of just like, oh, I just felt weird watching the whole thing. I don't know. But they said that they wanted this movie to be something that can be a little deeper, that we can take something from it that's real and relative to us now, and it really Jennifer's not married. Adam is married, and he was talking about how marriage is wonderful and great, but it can also be really difficult to learn how to work together with someone, and to just mix two separate lives together to create one can be difficult. So that's why he wanted to do Murder Mystery, because he felt that it was still funny, it was action-packed, but we could really actually learn some things from this movie, which I thought was fascinating. And if you guys were here a couple months ago, I started talking about the concept of being all of our lives, you guys at home, me, we're all here on earth at the same exact time, and how special and important that is. Like, okay, so when I think about the ocean or space for too long, I get really freaked out because they just go over my head. There's way too much that we don't know, and it scares me a little bit. So if I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like, okay, so there's the sun in our solar system, but our solar system's only like one of billions, and then like there's no end to space, but it's always expanding. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me, and I get very overwhelmed. Same with the ocean. I think that there are things in there that we don't ever want to come in contact with, and it would just be so scary. But what I don't get scared of is when I think about God and spirituality and all of us, knowing that there have been humans on this planet for thousands of years, but all of us are experiencing our one life on earth at the same time. I think that is just so incredibly special. And yes, we're talking about comedies today, But that to me is still so, so, so special. And I want to show you how we can tie comedy in with the miracle of being together on this earth at the same time. So when we recall anything, the last movie we watched, the last thing that we ate, what we did a few years ago, even a memory, we're not actually experiencing it again for the second time, for the third time, whatever. We cannot experience anything that just happened again. Even us sitting here listening to the band play Drops of Jupiter, we will not experience that again. It's impossible to go back and experience something twice. Unless, now that they've told us there's aliens, maybe they're going to tell us time travel's real. But for right now, we cannot experience something twice. But that's because we can recall the moments. There are defining moments, there are little moments, and that ties into the therapy and the gratitude that we like to talk about here at West. We are always trying to encourage all of us to live for the little moments, to pay attention to little moments, just to be grateful and thankful as often as we can in the moments of our lives. So Henry David Thoreau has a quote that says, "Find your eternity in each moment." What does that, you guys don't have to shout it out, but think about what that brings up for you, what that makes you think about. What's eternity? How do you define eternity? What is each moment to you? Is there a specific moment that you think of when you think of your eternity in every moment? I thought that this quote was very fitting for the message that I'm trying to tie together between moments in our lives and the comedy that we're going to be talking about today. And although comedy is great, we must acknowledge that life isn't always fun and funny or joyful, right? It's not every second of every day that we feel like laughing, feel like being around people, feel like entertaining others, or just even being with others. There are some times I know that each of us just wants to be alone and we don't want to laugh and giggle. But what I hope that we can learn today is that life is all about the moments and all types of moments. Happy moments, sad moments, scary moments, curious moments, fun moments, all of them. I want us to check out this next video about the most beautiful shots in film history. And while we watch, I encourage you to consider those shots as moments. We're not going to know the context of them. There are some movie clips in there that I know that we're going to recognize, but it's literally just 2 or 3 seconds from a movie. It's just one frame shot that's considered some of the most beautiful shots in film history. So think about yourself while you're watching those, and think about what your film may look like if you were to create one of these of your own life with just moments. Again, we can't explain the context of the moments. We don't know how they fit into the bigger picture of the entire movie, but they are just some beautiful shots that I hope can stir up some sort of emotion in you as we check out the video. So take a look. Serious question. Was that video at all a little bit like captivating to you? Yes, no, maybe. Yeah. For me, I watched that video probably 15 times straight. Like as soon as it would end, I would just start it over. And I don't know, I could not take my eyes off the screen when I was watching it for the first couple times. It was so special just to be able to see like that little tiny glimpse of whatever film that was from. Like, it was just cool to see a little tiny bit. And then to create a story out of that little tiny sliver, but also knowing that you don't know at all what the actual story is about. And then it got me thinking about all of us and all of our lives. Like, when I think of spirituality, I kind of picture something like that we could all watch, where each individual clip would be like each of our entire lifetime, and we're all just pieces of something so much bigger. And I don't know, that video just brings me comfort, and I'm sure that was not the last time that I'm going to watch it. So if any of you guys want the link to that video, I would be happy to send it to you. I don't know, that video is so special to me for some reason. So were you able to think about your own video like that, like some memories that you have or some moments in your life, whether they're good or bad, happy, sad, that you think without any context given that could tell the story of your life if you were able to capture them on video. I think that's a cool concept. Maybe we should try that out one day, see what we could do. So when we're talking about defining moments, in Scripture, there are obviously a ton of defining moments. Jesus' life was arguably the most important life ever on earth. But I want to talk to you about the very first time he performed a miracle and the thing that kind of solidified his divinity, and it confirmed to his disciples that he was who he said he was. And that is the story of turning water into wine at the wedding. So if you want to close your eyes, if you just want to think about a peaceful place, I'm going to read the scripture to you. This is John 2, verses 1 through 11. 3 days later, there was a wedding in the village of Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there. Jesus and his disciples were guests also. When they started running low on wine at the wedding banquet, Jesus' mother told him, "They're just about out of wine." Jesus said, "Is that any of our business, Mother? Yours or mine? This isn't my time. Don't push me." She went ahead, telling the servants, "Whatever he tells you, just do it." 6 stoneware water pots were used by the Jews for ritual washings. Each held 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus ordered the servants, "Fill the pots with water," and they filled them to the brim. "Now, fill your pitchers and take them to the host," Jesus said, and they did. When the host tasted the water that had become wine, he didn't know what had just happened, but the servants, of course, knew. He called out to the bridegroom, "Everybody I know begins with their finest wines, and after the guests have had their fill, brings in the cheap stuff. But you've saved the best till now." This act in Cana of Galilee was the first sign Jesus gave, the first glimpse of his glory, and his disciples believed in him. And that's the end of the story. But then it goes on to say, and then the story moves on to what Jesus and his mother and brothers did at the wedding, including to visit Capernaum, a fishing village close by, before they returned to Jerusalem for the Passover. I got stuck at that part. It says, the story moves on. And I thought, wait a second. How Jesus just performed his first miracle, and all of these grand things happened. This was solidifying his divinity. The disciples now knew who he was and who he had been claiming to be. He just proved it to everybody, and the story just moves on. And that bothered me for a little bit until I was doing some more research, and it started going into how the story doesn't just move on because it has to, or because the turning water into wine was insignificant. It's because that was just one of the many moments that Jesus was going to perform miracles, and that he was going to be able to prove that he was who he said he was over and over and over again. Yes, it was the very first time, so it holds a little extra significance in the grand scheme of everything, but when we really look back at it, it was just another little moment, another defining moment. Now I want us to look at a clip from Murder Mystery where the couple is meeting someone for the very first time on the ship, and this is arguably one of the funniest scenes in the movie, although it's just a couple seconds long. So take a look, and then we will discuss afterwards. I don't know why that's so funny. It's so subtle, but it's just hilarious. So when we think about moments in our lives, they could be like that. How many of you have ever had a terrible first impression with someone, whether it was them or you, and you just totally messed it up? Yeah, I definitely have. I think that is so funny because they want to be respectful. They want to not be rude. They want to do what's needed of them. And they're also excited to actually get to meet him. So as they continue to have to fake bow for him, they keep trying to start the conversation of, "So nice to meet you." And I can't whistle, but my favorite part of that is when Jennifer Aniston starts to talk, and then she realizes they're bowing again, and she like whistles as she's going down because she's trying to not act like she was trying to talk again for the third time. Ugh, I love that scene. So funny. So can we connect that back to the find your eternity in each moment? What do you think the purpose of the character who was pretending that you have to bow 3 times because he's royalty in his country, what do you think he was trying to accomplish? This is a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer. But I always wonder, okay, so in comedies, everything is intentional, although sometimes it doesn't seem like it. There are comedies out there that are just dumb. That's not the word I wanted to use, but they don't seem to have any purpose. Have any of you ever watched The Ridiculous Six? It's a spoof of The Wonderful Eight. I think it's a Western movie. It's one of Tony's favorite movies. But those types of movies are hilarious. I do like to watch them. But when it's over, I'm like, okay, I don't really feel like there was a point to that movie. Murder Mystery is not one of those movies. It's very clear that there are points and lessons to be made. And from that scene that we just watched, I think that it's just hilarious the way that they interacted with one another. They didn't want to mess it up. They wanted to be respectful, and he was just pulling a prank on them and just wanted everything to be light and airy. And his character throughout the entire movie is like that. He's always like, oh, what's up? He's just very chill and relaxed. And that's the ironic thing, because everyone thinks that because he's royalty in his country that you need to be prim and proper and in your best shape, kind of like church, right? Like I know a lot of us grew up thinking that we had to present our best selves here at church, when really we can be doing the, hey, what's up? How are you today? Which is my favorite thing about West. So even in the not so fabulous moments that we experience, remember what life is all about. Everything really can be centered around and come back to that central idea and concept of everything being to and for loving one another. So what do you think of when you hear the name Adam Sandler? Is it normally just funny, hilarious, Billy Madison, Waterboy? Do you guys ever think about him as a person, or does it normally just tie into him as a comedian? Comedian, yeah. So I wanted to show us at the end of today's message, he was just awarded a huge award in the actor world, and I should have written it down, but I have not, so I will get that to you afterwards. His acceptance speech was 11 minutes long, and I had cut up the video to where it was about 4 minutes long to hit some highlight points, but my disk was full on my laptop, and it would not export the video, and at that point to me, I'm just like, okay, I've done what I can. I cannot get the video to work. So we do not have that video today, but I can tell you some of the key points that I was hoping to be able to show you about Adam Sandler, the person. During his acceptance speech, he talked about the moments of his life that have led him up to this point. He's a very humble guy. All of his peers have nothing but amazing things to say about him. They say that they treat him like a brother. He's the most generous person they've ever met. He's the kindest person. He's the most creative. They have wonderful, wonderful things to say about him. So when he gets up on stage, he is talking about all of the other people who helped him get there. He never takes credit for any of the things himself. He says his college roommate, all of the peers that he had who turned into best friends from SNL, his mother, the day he met his wife, his 2 daughters, all of his buddies are just the reason that he is where he is today. And I thought that that was very special, because when he is talking about all of those people, he pinpoints their experiences to moments. Now, obviously with friendships, you guys have a lot of moments together, probably over a lot of years, a lot of months, a lot of weeks, depending on how long you've known the person. But he was able to pinpoint for each person one exact moment where they have helped him in his career. So for his college roommate, it was his college roommate had asked him, what do you want to do with your life? And Adam Sandler said that he wanted to be a comedian. And the roommate replied, oh, tell me a few jokes. Adam didn't have any jokes. So his roommate went home for the weekend that weekend and came back on Monday to school with 3 sheets of paper filled with jokes that Adam could practice telling. And that, for him, although they are still best friends, that college day that he came back on Monday with jokes was the pinpointed moment in Adam Sandler's life and career where he felt closest to his lifelong friend who was a roommate. And if you can look up his award, acceptance speech, and I will send that out later today. It's amazing. It was really humbling for me to watch him be so humble. He really took credit for hardly anything over his entire career, and he really showcased the importance of moments in his life. He also said that if for one kid he could say that he was able to provide them with their favorite line in a movie or to help them get through a tough time by laughing about it, that those were the 2 times that he would feel most accomplished in his life. And I thought that was special too, because it is all about the moments. Laughing is amazing. Comedy is amazing. Like I said earlier, comedy is the one thing that I will always go to. Every night when Tony and I eat dinner, we're looking up something either stand-up wise, or I'm really big into the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt right now. I think that show is so funny. But I'm always looking to laugh and just have a good time and be casual. But just because things are funny and casual and we get to laugh at them does not mean that we can't learn great, amazing things from them and even lock them into our defining moments. So an action item for today, all I want you to do, I know I gave you homework earlier, but you don't have to listen to that. What I really want you to do is try to laugh today. Don't do it in a way, obviously, that's cruel or you're making fun of someone or something, but try to laugh more today. It does make life easier. It is the best medicine, as we know. And I want to share this poem with you as we end today. Okay, it says, I love the big moments that happen in life, times of celebration, times of mirth, birthdays, marriages, family reunions, Christmases, and births. These are wonderful moments, moments I don't wish to demean, but for me, the meaning and the beauty in life is found in the little moments in between. A morning walk, watching the clouds, the changing of the tides, eating a bowl of cereal with Deborah by my side, watching birds come to our feeder, squirrels scurrying up a tree, eating lunch with Michelle and her nieces at a restaurant, gluten-free. A golf cart ride, a fabric store, seeing the girls' smiling faces as they chose their fabric, took it home and made 2 pillowcases. Eating chocolate, watching YouTube, looking T-Rex in the eye, after spending time together, finding it hard to say goodbye. It was a day of little moments, no big moments that I'm aware, but in the midst of all these little moments, I found some comfort there. For I believe these little moments are where living and life coincide, and where, if we are lucky, joy and happiness reside. Yes, big moments in life are wonderful, the big celebrations, the big scenes, but most of life, a happy life, is found in the moments in between. Will you pray with me? Dear God, thank you so much for the ability to be in community with one another, and thank you for allowing our lifelines to be at the same time. I know that sounds like a concept that's a little far-fetched, but it really is special that no matter what our ages are, no matter what we're going through, we are experiencing our one life on earth together, and that cannot be replicated. We thank you for the lessons that we can learn and the different forms and mediums that we can learn them through, comedy being one of them. The intentionality between comedians and what they're hoping to share with us and what they're hoping to teach us is so precious and valuable. Thank you for the little moments, and may we be open to seeing them and experiencing them a little more as we go into this next week. In your name we pray. Amen. Please sing along. So much for coming here and being here today. I hope today was meaningful and useful for you as you move into this next week. Please enjoy the sunshine, and we hope to see you next week. Go in peace.